today we are going to focus mainly on this quadratic equation and deal with everything that pertains to it. When the word quadratic equation is mentioned, you are just talking about a sort of equation where the highest power is what? 2. In mathematics, we have series of equations. We have linear equations. When you talk about the linear equations, we mean the equation that the highest power is what? 1. Take for instance, you'll be having 2x plus 5 equals 0. Something like this. You know, when you look at this x, you may not see a visible power here, right? Yes. But whenever you see a letter without a power there, the power is just what? 1. So this kind of equation is just a linear what? Equation. In the sense that the highest power is what? 1. But when you see an equation whereby the highest power, let's say x squared plus 2x plus 3 equals 0, whereby the highest power is 2, it means that that kind of equation is said to be what? Quadratic. If the power is 3, the highest power, it is called a cubic equation. We can have a power of 4, quartic, etc. There are so many kinds of equations. But for now, we are focusing our attention on quadratic equation. So I want you to know the difference that exists between equation and expression. Equations and expressions are not the same thing. If I remove this equality sign now, this is no longer an equation. You cannot call this equation. It becomes what? An expression. So in mathematics, we have what we call numbers. Just like your 2, your 3, your 4, etc. We have our letters, just like X, Y, A, B, etc. When I combine a letter and a number, maybe if I want to combine 2 and 3, I will form 2 what? Sorry, 2 and X, I will form what? 2X. This 2X is no longer a number. It is no longer a letter. It becomes what we call what? A 10. We call it algebraic 10. So a combination of letter and number is called a 10. So when you now combine 2 or more terms together, you are forming what we call expressions. Just like this. So many terms are combined together to form expressions. This is also what? An expression. But because of the presence of this equality sign, it's no longer an expression, it becomes what? Equation. But when I remove the equality sign, it becomes expression. So the difference that exists between equations and expression is just the presence of equality sign in what? Equation. So equation tells you that two statements are what? Equal. So any relationship that links 2 or more expressions together is called what? An equation. So I believe that by now you must have understood what you mean by equation and quadratic what? Equation. Now look at the nature or the form of every quadratic equation. Ax squared plus bx plus c equal to what? 0. The c is always the what? Constant. When I say constant, I mean numbers without any what? Letter or alphabet. They are the constant. This is not a constant, it is the x variable, the second term there. This is the first term, which is having the what? The power. Okay? Now, to solve quadratic equation, there are many methods you can employ in solving quadratic equation. And it's very, very vital that you know all these methods one after the other, because a lecturer or a teacher might mandate you to use a particular method you don't like. That is why you need to know all of them, so that anyone that is required, you apply them. So we have the factorization. So today I hope we are going to exhaust all this before the 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours we have for this class. So I have to be a bit fast, but not too fast, to help us cover a lot, because apart from these solutions, there are so many other things, discriminants and even symmetric properties of roots of quadratic equations, so many things. And that is where I know questions will come mostly, because it is the most funny part of quadratic equation. Okay, factorization method. Let's say we have a equation like this. So I'll begin with the simple examples before I get into the difficult ones. Assume you have x squared plus 8x plus 15 equals to 0 and you are asked to solve this. Remember, for the fact that it is a quadratic equation, you must have two answers. If the highest power is 5, it must have 5 answers. So the power determines the number of solutions the equation is going to do what? Have. So because you're having x squared plus 8x plus 15, so you must have two results. And to solve any quadratic equation, take this term here, which is x squared, use it to multiply the what? Constant. Our constant is 15, right? Yes. So use this x squared to multiply 15. You have what? 15x squared. You can have this in your mind, you may not write it down. Now think of two numbers, two terms, not just number. Think of two terms you have to multiply to get 15x squared. And when you add them together, you get 8x. Yeah, so you have 3x and what? 5x. Because 3x multiplying 5x will give us what? 15x squared. Because x I give 1 now. And 3x plus 5x will give us what? 8x. So you see that these 3x and 5x can now be used to replace what? 8x. And we're shortcut HMA, but I won't teach you the shortcut. You might lose some marks in the exam. You understand? Open a shortcut now. Then I'll just put brackets equal to 0. X plus 3, x plus 5, and so on. But I wouldn't. So I want you to understand it very well. Okay. Now, having known that the two terms we are going to use are 3x and 5x, we shall use it to replace what? 8x. So that we shall have x squared plus 3x plus 5x plus 15 equals 0. Please, nothing has changed. This is not manipulation because 3x plus 5x gives us back our what? 8x. This 8x can be split into 2x and 6x. We shall still get 6. We shall still get what? Mana that two terms we are using the other Makana 2 times 6 cannot give us what? 15. That's the essence. That is why you must think of two numbers with times to get the constant, and when you add, you get the what? The second term. Now you can see that these numbers has been grouped into pairs of what? 2. First 2 and last what? 2. In the first 2, what is the common factor? X. Because I can see x in both of them. So I have to write my what? X. Put a bracket. Please, if you are confused anyway, just stop me. X squared divide what? X. What shall we get? X. You write x plus 3x divide x 3. To give us 3, because when you have 3x over x, x will cancel what? Yes. Leaving us behind with 3. Plus, the common factor here is what? 5. Yes, because 5 can go into 5 and what? 15. So you have 5 into 5x divide this will give us what? X. 15 divide 5 is what? 3. Equal to 0. You will notice something very important here. The two terms in the bracket are what? The same. The expressions are the same. If they are not the same, you know that you've made a mistake. You go back and fish it out. They must be the same thing. Now, if they are not the same thing, I can factor it what? But cannot they common, right? Yes. If I factor out x plus 3, this plus is just a separator. So I have factored out x plus 3. In the left side, what is left? X. In this side, what is left? Plus 5. Equal to what? 0. I hope you are getting this. Yes. Now, if x plus... Now, do you know why at this stage you normally say x plus 3 equal to what? 0. And x plus 5 equal to what? 0. Do you know why you normally do that? But can students not funny? X plus 3 equal to 0, x plus 5 equal to 0, but they don't know why they are equating it part by part equal to 0. Okay, now let me ask you. If I have 2 times 0, what will I get? 0. If I have 0 times 2, what will I get? 0. 0 times 0 is what? 0. This means that for you to get 0 as a product, it means that one of the numbers that are multiplied together must be what? 0. Or both of them are what? 0. So whenever two things are times each other to give you 0, a man of times 0 or both of them are what?
0.
That is why coming here, this is multiplying this, and the answer is what?
0.
Ogosi na either na nke a bụ 0 ma ọ bụ na nke a bụ gịnị?
0.
Or na fana bụ gịnị?
0.
That's why. In case tomorrow, able teacher, so a student can ask you, why are we saying this equal to 0, this equal to 0? It is because whenever two things are multiplying each other to give us 0, it implies that one of it is 0, or both of them are what? 0. Therefore, you are not free to write. Why can't you say either? When I say either?
Yes.
No, na nke a bụ 0 ma ọ na nke a bụ 0. Why can't either si abịa maka na ịma nke bụ 0? So either x plus 3 is equal to what?
0.
Plus coming here was there gini?
Minus.
Therefore, x is minus what? 3. Is equal, or x plus 5 is equal to what?
0.
So x is what?
Minus
5. Therefore, x is minus 3 or minus 5. That's just the answer to this particular one. I will solve just one more on this method. We go to another method because of time. And the next question I'm going to solve, I must have a number beside the x word squared. But can the shortcut? You have to use when number beside the x squared in when so. So the shortcut is limited unless something is done to it. Okay, so let me clean here. If you're able to get this level, you now know that now when is anything actually in factorization method you can fail. So you have 5x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. As usual, you will leave up in a by you multiply the word constant. So I will say 5x squared multiplying minus 3. I will have minus 15x squared. You now ask yourself, what two terms will you multiply to get minus 15x squared? And when you add, you get minus 2. Minus 2x. And 3, right? Let's take it out. Minus 5x times 3x will give us what? And minus 5 plus 3 will give us what? And in a mistake, t minus ever t plus. Will it give you minus 2?
No.
Okay, get this one, right?
Yes.
But it cannot give you this. So because we are seeing a negative sign here, a man at the bigger number must have the what?
Negative sign.
If you are seeing a positive, the bigger number will have the what? Positive. That's the idea of the theory thinking. So the trick is that upon ever the positive, the man at the bigger number must be what? Positive for you to overcome it. So two numbers I will multiply to get minus 15x squared, and when I add, I will get minus 2x are minus 5x and plus what? 3x. They are the two numbers. So I will use them to replace what? Minus 2x. So I will plug this out and use these two values to replace it. Hence, I am now free to write 5x squared minus 5x plus 3x minus 3 equal to what? 0. Before this one. The order does not matter. Provided that you are writing them with their what? Signs. That's the most important thing. The order does not matter. So here, we have now formed 4 terms. So you group them in pairs of what? This is the first, and this is the second. What is the common factor here? Not only x, 5 what? X. So you write 5x, put your bracket. 5x squared divide 5x, you give us what? It's x, right? Because x is double. So have x. 5x divide 5x is what? 1. Plus. The common factor here is what? 3. Just 3, isn't it?
Yes.
So you must have your 3 into 3x divide 3 is what? X. 3 divide 3 is what? 1. Equal to 0. You can see that the terms are what? The same. If they are not the same thing, it means that something is wrong. Now this is common, right?
Yes.
Factor it out. X minus 1. The plus or minus sign that is here is the separator, right?
Yes.
Into the left and the what?
Right.
Coming to the left, I have taken this out. So what is left?
5x.
5x. Here I've taken this out. What is left? Plus 3. Equal to what?
0.
You are now free to write either x minus 1 is equal to what?
0.
Minus coming here becomes what?
Plus.
So x is 1 plus 1. That is 0 plus 1 is 1. Or, I'll bring this out. 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. So I shall have 5x equals what? When I hit 0, I just neglected it because 0 is nothing. Plus 0 minus 0 is what? 0, nothing. That's why 0 is neither negative nor what? Positive. So I'm looking for x, not 5x, right?
Yes.
So to get x, I will divide both sides by what? 5. So x is now minus 3 over 5. Therefore, x is equal to what? 1. Or minus 3 over 5. Finish. That's the answer to this. So I believe that you are unclear about the factorization method. Or do you have a question? Because I want to go into completing square method now.
Oh my God.